We're back, and as promised yesterday, I'm going to be doing this video explaining more into the deep dive of this Indy Autonomous Challenge because this really does tie into the IEDC of how they're throwing money at these most random niche things and how it involves with the CICP, the BIC, the ESN, and all these other acronyms that the government is laying out there to confuse you, the taxpayer, so you lay off their case. They give you a cold trail so they can have all these sponsorships to go to Colts games, Pacers games, and whatever they feel like wasting your money on. And so this video is really to explain just a layer, just one vine of this giant forest of a money laundering op that to me is just the most confusing thing. It's very well orchestrated, very complicated, and trying to explain like a big picture of this thing to regular people, your eyes will glaze over. Trust me, I have been spending a lot of time in this, hours and hours looking through these contracts, and then looking 3 hours later, I'm in another rabbit hole. So let's just explain this thing. Last week, we threw up this graphic trying to just have the appetizer for this video because I knew I was going to be on Robin and Casey and I was going to be talking a little bit about it. Now, as you can see here, here's the IEDC, and you can see going to the CICP, which I talked about yesterday, onto the Indy Autonomous Challenge. But showing you like actual visual graphic stuff, graphics, as in pictures, will help explain a little bit more. And the reason why a lot of this stuff has been taking forever is one thing is we are a small group of people. We basically get paid by Arby's coupons and fuel our energy with rage against the government and knowing that they're wasting our tax monies. But not only that, the IEDC has 39 different funds. Now, not all of these funds are being used at all the same time. Is you can see this BDLF fund. The last time it was used was 2009, and they only used it for 3 times. They only used it 3 times. Now, it might be redundant now. They might have transformed into a different fund, but this is just another layer of, hey, we're going to throw you off our tracks. Hey, we're going to give you a different trail to go down into. Now, the Indy Autonomous Challenge is very fascinating because it shows that the money was received from somebody else or was given to somebody else, and then that money was given into something else. Now, and there's a perfect example, CICP, which is the Central Indiana Corporate Partnership, which I talked about yesterday back in 2023. They had $8.4 million in revenue and also $4.9 million of salaries. Very interesting, right? A little bit sketchy. But back in 2021, I believe it was, they got the IEDC gave the CICP, which is the Central Indiana Corporate Partnership, the acronyms. They gave them $1.8 million. And why? The grant fund shall be used for the Indy Autonomous Challenge Opportunity Project. $1.6 million, even though it shows here, new contract, $1.8 million. Other grant will be used to subsidize and secure commitments to assist with the development of programs around technology, commercialization, talent recruitment, strategic connections, and programmatic development. Now, here's an extra fun fact. $225,000 will be utilized to support initial design and engineering to determine the feasibility and safety, developing an autonomous two-seater Indy cars that leveraging some of the autonomous technology that has been developed for the IAC as well as integration. Now, the first thing I'd like to know is why is $1.8 million, even $1.6 million being used for this? So it's 1. I got you. 1.6 for the original grant, and 225 for the design of that two-seater. For those who don't know, there's 2 things. Why is our money being spent on this? And if it's an autonomous car, why do you need 2 seats in it? It's supposed to be self-driving. What are we even doing here? All right, but most important part is this part. Is programmatic events outlined as proposal to highlight opportunities by which the ESN will help capitalize on the momentum generated to date. Now, the ESN is the Energy Systems Network. Now, who runs the ESN? Well, that would be Paul Mitchell. He is the president and CEO of ESN. They merged with BIC, which is the Battery Innovation Center. This is just a taste, all right? Don't you worry. We're going to get into it. I know you're like, oh, my God, there's just so much. No. We're going to get through this together. I promise you. All right, so the thing blossomed off, right? And it ended up creating a nonprofit called the Indy Innovation Challenge. And the Indy Innovation Challenge was actually ended up becoming the Indy Autonomous Challenge because, as you can see in this IEDC contract, doing business as. Now, the Indy Innovation Challenge is a nonprofit that where the president and CEO is Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell, the same person that runs ESN, Energy Systems Network. You see where I'm going at right now? So let's just backtrack a little bit. ESN, according to the contract, was going to capitalize on the momentum. Paul Mitchell runs ESN. Paul Mitchell is the president and CEO of the nonprofit Indy Innovation Challenge. Okay, we got that first layer, right? That's where the money's going. Now, after that, the Indy Innovation Challenge, doing business as the Indy Autonomous Challenge. So when you hear those two things, the Indy Innovation Challenge and the Indy Autonomous Challenge, they're the same thing. That's where they try to confuse you. That's where they're going to try and get you every time. They're going to be changing the names on things, doing business as, the acronyms, but don't you worry. You're smarter than that, and we're going to get through this together, because by the end of the year, you are going to be a rock star when it comes to the IEDC, to these contracts, to knowing what the whole story is. So when Braun comes out with his lame investigation, you're going to look at him and go, listen, Braun, Mr. Bond villain, I know more than you. And you'll be sending letters and emails, and every time you see him at a GOP event, you're going to be like, tell me more about the IEDC. Nah. I'm going to tell you about the IEDC. All right, okay. We rant over. So back to the Indy Innovation Challenge. Now, the other person that was part of the Indy Innovation Challenge was Chad Pittman. He was the director of it. Now, Chad Pittman is the board chair of the Battery Innovation Center. Now, if you remember, in that Hannah News article, Battery Innovation Center was brought up. This is how this whole thing started for us, that we started looking to the BIC and then Chad Pittman, and before you know it, we find out all these businesses. But going back, Indy Innovation Challenge was created by Paul Mitchell, also director on there, Chad Pittman, David Robertson. It would blossom so well that now that they're having the Indy Autonomous Challenge, the same thing as the Indy Innovation Challenge, they give $2.8 million contract. And remember what I talked about. If you want to look at these contracts, there are two things that you want to look at. You want to look at number 37 on the contract, because that explains it. And you also want to look at Exhibit A, because that goes into deeper background of what they're using the money for. We're not going to get into the contracts. That's not the most important part here. The most important part right now is the connections to these contracts. So let's backtrack a little bit. In 2021, the CICP gave $1.8 million they got $1.8 million from the IEDC to start this whole Indy Autonomous project. And they said in the contract that the ESN, the Energy Systems Network, was going to capitalize on the momentum. Who runs ESN? Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell then the next year opens up a nonprofit with Chad Pittman for this Indy Autonomous Challenge, also known as the Indy Innovation Challenge. Good, right? You're good, right? Hey, you're getting it, right? And then you get two more contracts. You get another contract after that. Now, next layer, right? Next layer. Emerging Manufacturer Collaboration Center, also known as EMC Squared. I know, it's very clever, right? Now, who owns the building? Who runs EMC Squared? Chad Pittman, the same Chad Pittman who's on the nonprofit for the Indy Autonomous Challenge. You see where I'm going at with this whole thing? It's crazy, right? But you guys are rock stars. I know you're getting all this right now. I can see the hamster cage, the hamster wheel. It's spinning fast right now. I can see it through the computer. We are connected to it. All right, so Chad Pittman owns the Emerging Manufacturing Collaboration Center, EMC Squared. And not only that, but the IEDC is giving money to the Emerging Manufacturer Collaboration for rent. And this is also in the, believe in the original contract or one of the IEDC contracts for the Indian Innovation Challenge. That's where the cars are going to be stored, is at the EMC Squared. So let's backtrack a little bit. 2021, IEDC money gives $1.8 million to CICP. CICP starts this whole Indy Autonomous project. A year later, and they said ESN would capitalize on the momentum. Who is ESN? Energy Systems Network, run by Paul Mitchell. A year later, there's a nonprofit created for the Indy Innovation Challenge. And it's run by Paul Mitchell. He's the president and CEO. One of the board of directors is Chad Pittman, right? I know you're getting it. Chad Pittman runs the building, owns the building for the EMC Squared, where the IEDC is giving rent money to, also in the contracts where the cars are going to be stored. I know you're getting this, right? It's like, wow, I'm getting all of it. I'm going to be the master of all of this. I know you guys are so smart. Now, if you want to double check on the address of where it's going to, it's right there. And you know what? I know this is where I have to stop with that. I am not allowed to go any further with that on this address right here. You guys will just have to look it up yourself to prove that Chad Pittman owns EMC Squared. You could also go onto the property card, Indy property card, which we've done this before. And there it is right there. It's in like the 16th district, I believe, where they had like that really expensive bridge built. Just the other, it took a long time, but they finally got it. All right, so the next layer. I know some of you might be thinking, that can't be right. You're lying to me. No. Not only do I have the paperwork to show it to you, but I also on their website, the challenge, the Energy Systems Network that we talked about, right? That said that in the contract that ESN will capitalize on the momentum for it. That's owned by Paul Mitchell. That's right. That also opened a nonprofit for. That's right. The Indy Autonomous Challenge. There's our two connections. Now now right here, the Indianapolis-based nonprofit and a branded initiative by the CICP, right? You guys are getting it. It's awesome, right? Now let's look at the sponsors. This is where it gets really fun. This is where you're going to have your brain blew up like from all the information overload, or you're going to get rage fuel by it. It's going to be one of the two. Now, the sponsors, 912, Sports Tech HQ. Do you remember a few videos ago where I talked about Sports Tech HQ getting money from the IEDC as a sponsorship? Here's another sponsorship, because that's how sponsorships works. You give money to put your name on some lame thing. Do you remember the Andretti car? Hey, we're gonna put a little patch right here for $100,000. There's a few other things, but that's, you guys know what I'm getting at. So you get 912, you get Sports Tech HQ. Also, you get the IEDC. And this goes back to what the original graphic showed. The IEDC giving money to the CICP. That goes to the Indy Autonomous Challenge. The IEDC giving Sports Tech HQ goes to the Indy Autonomous Challenge. IEDC gives money to the 912. And you're like, wait a minute. I didn't see anything about 912 getting money. Hey, how many times has Rob said, we come with the receipts every time? And this is no different. Right here, if you go onto Indiana Biz and you type in Chad Pittman, you can see all the businesses that he has. And believe me, I know certain people are watching this video and they are just steaming right now. And don't you worry, I have saved everything. I have a whole Google Drive of all this stuff that eventually I will just put out into the public, because I know in the very near future things are going to get spicy. Oh, what does it say right here? 912. What does it say right here? 912. What does it say on right here for my on my Google sheet right here? Chad Pittman. You don't believe me? Go and look it up onto the Indiana Business Search. You'll see everything that I'm saying is 100% true. So that was the connection. When you say, well, I didn't see 912 in there. There it is. 912, which is run by Chad Pittman, the same person that's on the director of the Indy Autonomous Challenge nonprofit, where also in 2022, Chad Pittman is also on the board of chair of the board for the BIC Battery Innovation Center that ended up merging with who? Energy Systems Network. That's so crazy, right? All the connections are finally starting to make sense. Let me throw one more. Let me finish up the sponsor thing though. But here we go. Also, the IEDC is also giving money to this thing. And what's right here? The ESN is also giving money to this thing. This goes back to the graphic. All the stuff is making sense. I know, right? It's all the dots are starting to connect right now. The flashes, the booms, everything's starting to connect right now. Well, let me throw one more in there, and this is how I'm going to end the video. Remember when I talked about on the Kendall and Casey show about the $140 million of no did contracts. What do I see right here? 912 Battery Innovation Center, EICP, emerging manufacturing, next level manufacturing. Indy, and what do I see right here? It's, I know it shows like 143, but some of these are not showing on here. So I'm just going as a good number, $140 million. This is a message that I'm making right now. We know what's going on, and the deeper that we go, the harder that they're gonna be fighting back. So all I can say is keep searching, keep investigating, because we're never gonna stop, and I'm hoping that none of you guys stop either. Until next time.